Bears dropped their fourth consecutive game of the 2024 season and 11th consecutive game to the Green Bay Packers, 20-19. One word to describe yesterday's game.
I'm not going to follow the rules because I'm going to give you a phrase, but it was something that I saw. It was something that I saw another Bears fan say, and you have to know Harbaugh and his daddy when they be like, "Who got it better than us?" No one. A Bears fan was like, "Who got it worse than us?" And that hit home for me.
Because the Harbaughs are corny. That's the joke.
I mean, at least they winning. You could be as corny as you want to be, buddy. You could put those big glasses and those Dockers pants on and tuck your shirt in into your boxer shorts. I don't care what you do. Are you winning? And right now they're winning. Shout
out to Connor Stallions. Q, what about you?
I gotta do it. I gotta follow Tiffany. I got two one-word phrases: disappointing and expected. That's just to sum up the way this rivalry has been for us the last few years. Disappointed, expected.
So this is why the Bears be losing. We all it's supposed to be one band, one sound. I say one word, y'all give
disappointed. There you go. Damn. Always want to be a dictator.
This is America. Right. Last time I checked, this is America.
We know
for a little bit longer, this is America.
MAGA pay once again trying to dictate everything.
For about 6 more weeks, this is America.
MAGA pay. You are in a red state too, aren't you? Oh Lord, he's already adopting the ways of the locals.
Speaking of locals, the locals of Chicago did not have a great weekend. Started with that L everyone took on Friday trying to watch that dumbass boxing event. We had this game right in the clutch of our hands to win, to finally break that long losing streak, to end that long national nightmare that is losing to the Green Bay Packers. So before the bottom fell out, I'm sure we all had a lot of good vibes. What were some of those?
I guess I'll start. I liked the new offensive coordinator's decisiveness and not overthinking it. You saw on short yardage plays, he brought in Roshan, even the ball. I also like that there were some designed runs for Caleb. Caleb Williams is very underrated athleticism, and I don't think that was incorporated into the offense enough. I didn't see Shane Waldron moving the pocket a lot. When he moved the pocket, it was terrible. Like when he decided to move the pocket, it was obvious and telegraphed. I thought Thomas Brown made good use of Caleb's legs. I thought he was smart and decisive. You give the ball to Roshan in the short yardage situations. You get DeAndre Swift on the perimeter. Just not overthinking it. Playing to your football player's strengths. DeAndre Swift is a guy with speed and acceleration and can make guys miss in the open field. And that's the way he used them. Get them out on the edges, get them in the perimeter, get them in space. And you saw that led to a 39-yard DeAndre Swift touchdown run. And I think Roshan had a 1-yard touchdown plunge. So you use both guys the way they should have been used. So I thought kudos to him coming in mid-season, obviously on a short week for him, because I think Waldron was fired on a Tuesday or a Monday.
Tuesday.
On a Tuesday, so short week of preparation. I thought he did a good job of just not overthinking and playing to his player strengths.
I'm gonna echo that and say shout out to the black man. I always love to see them do well. So I hope he continues to do a great job play calling. And he's
37, 38.
He's young, yeah. This is the second
Rumble,
time
young man,
throw him in this fire of taking over midseason for a fired offensive coordinator with a rookie QB. So he's a little battle tested having to do that last year in Carolina. But I echo what you said. I like the play calling. I like how quickly they were getting the ball out of Caleb's hands. I like that they were playing to his strengths. The offensive line to me looked the best it looked this season, even though we had injuries and all this and that. There wasn't a ton of noticeable mistakes because of how quickly we were getting the ball out. I loved, again, that we played to Caleb's strengths. I was very happy for Caleb, very proud of Caleb, because this was a rough week for him. Everybody was, not everybody, but a lot of people were on his neck, myself included, for some things I said.
Where you live on that man's neck.
No, I don't live on his neck. I wasn't like other people. I mean, if players were going to coaches asking for him to be replaced, if that's true, I wasn't on his neck like that.
So we debunked that one on Friday.
Well, I mean, that's cool, debunked or not. It still came out, and it was still something he had to deal with. So the way that he handled all of that, adversity, pressure, came out and had the best game he's had in a while. He was getting the ball out. He looked decisive. He looked confident. I loved the way he was aggressive, and he was like, "No, we going for this fourth down. We going for it. You got to live and die with that." And he lived with them. I think each time he called for the fourth down and they went for it, he got it. So I was really proud overall of the way he played. I mean, there were so many good games from Sunday's game. Good things from Sunday's game. That's why the loss just hurt so much more, because there were so many good things in that game. And I feel so badly for Caleb because he was robbed of a signature win. That was a signature win for him. We have not beaten the Packers in 11 games. We were at home. This was the win that would have been the first definition of his career, and that was stolen from him. And I really, and the team, of course, but that was going to go down under his name. We all know that. That's how QBs get it. And I'm sad for that, because he played a good game. He led the team the best he could to win, and again, we were all robbed of that dub.
Tim, that's the second time. He's had what should have been a game-winning drive stolen from him in the final seconds.
He is. And now you asked who robbed him, and I'm sure we'll get to this later. I'm not on the boat of blame Eberflus for that loss. I think people blame him. Wait a minute. Now we can get into what you thought, but I'm talking about that last drive when people are like, "Oh, why didn't he run the ball one more time?" First of all, let's be real. On that drive, how many times was Caleb sacked? Twice. Okay. So we've got a situation where we thankfully were able to get out of that and even get in field goal range. We've got a kicker who we know from 46 is pretty much money. There's no wind. There's no adverse weather out there. All of those good things. So you have, if he would have said, "Let's run," and we ran the play before, and how many yards did we pick up? 2 or 3, right? 2 or 3. So, okay, instead of a 46, let's have him do 43. What difference does that make in the kick being blocked or not? Let's just be honest. Because the Packers defenders already came out and said they were watching film on Cairo, and they recognized that he has a low trajectory when he kicks his field goals, and they knew they were going to be able to block one of them. So whether we were 46, 43, 40, the result, if they were going to block it, wasn't going to be any different. And the people that are acting like in that last play we were about to run off 20 yards or something, they're being ridiculous. Because if we would have made one more play and Caleb would have got sacked, or we would have had a run for loss, or somebody would have fumbled, or something crazy, now everybody would have been on Eberflus's head like, "You was in 46 yards. That's Cairo is guaranteed from there. Why didn't you kick it?" So I think that's just, if you hate Eberflus and you want him to be fired, I'm totally fine with that. But this narrative that, "Oh my God, why didn't he run one more play?" as if one more play would have guaranteed the kick wasn't going to be blocked, is preposterous in my opinion.
Messing up the vibe. I'm trying to stay in a good mood so I can get my good out there, but it's kind of hard to follow that.
When you asked it, you said who ruined it.
Yeah, I know I did, and that's bad producing on my part. I should have just let you all, finish on a high note. My good from Sunday. Q already spoke to the offensive coordinator. You spoke to Caleb. I'm going to speak to, and you spoke to the offensive line as well. I'm going to speak to the wide receivers, the skill position guys. They showed up. They all showed up on one accord. One band, one sound. You didn't see all these highly paid wide receivers dropping the ball. You saw everybody making blocks for each other. You saw people getting the guards and the tackles. Shout out to Larry. Shout out to Braxton Jones. Got out there on that one sweep to make an amazing block for DeAndre Swift. You saw everybody playing as a unit. We saw the cohesiveness that we haven't seen in a month. And that's what I took from the game. Like, okay, it's not like it looked like we're fighting. We're fighting. I don't know if they're fighting for Eberflus. I don't know if they're fighting for each other. I don't know if they're fighting for the new offensive coordinator, Thomas Brown. Whatever they're fighting for, I was rocking with that. Let's keep those vibes going. So the Bears did lose 20-19 Sunday. I'm assuming everybody's bad is going to be directly into that fourth quarter. Tiff, you want to kick this off? What's your bad from the loss?
I'm not going to go to the fourth quarter. I'll let you guys have that because I already said a little bit of my piece on that. My bad was, once again, we could not stop the run. I wanted someone to clothesline Jacobs because he was really, for the majority of the game, the only person who was getting anything off on us, and he was getting it off on us at will. Okay, they could not tackle that boy. They could not catch him when he had caught the ball. I mean, whatever he wanted, he was running through our defense. So to me, once again, it's like we cannot show up that run defense, and even in the past game, we couldn't tackle him. Like Kyler holding on, or who was it? I forget. Whoever was trying to hold on to his shirt and just getting dragged. Like, come on, man.
That was Gordon.
Yeah.
That was Gordon.
We could not put a body on him to get him on the ground. And it was like big play after big play. Christian Watson, I don't know why we can't put a body on their best receiver. We seem to not, it was just those big plays that kept Green Bay in the game, and it's just like close the door on them. We've got to figure this run defense out because we can't keep letting running backs have games of their season every week against us.
My bad is Eberflus. Once again, being outcoached and questionable decision at the end of the game cost them a win.
What?
You heard Tom Brady.
I would like to hear the questionable decisions. Are you one of those we should have ran the ball one more time and got half a yard?
Absolutely. We had one timeout. We should have tried to run the ball. If you look at the Monday night game, the Chargers were in the same position. They ran the ball trying to get close to the field, and they ended up scoring a touchdown. Tom Brady, who's a Hall of Famer, decorated Super Bowl winner, was bewildered that they weren't trying to run the ball. Listen, I understand that nowadays we feel like 46 yards are chip shots. However, when you start kicking the 45 yards are out as a kicker, you have to get the trajectory of the ball low. That's why those longer kicks are easier to block. Had it been shorter, within 40, he'd have been able to kick it higher off the foot. That's just kicking one-on-one. So when you're kicking those long field goals, they have a first shot at blocking it. You don't see extra points blocked for that reason. The kickers don't have to kick it low. So I would have liked them to at least try to get closer. Roschon Johnson was running hard. He's falling forward for yard two. I'm not worried about Roschon Johnson losing yardage. You play to win the game, like Herm Edwards said. You play to win the game. Don't coach scared. Listen, we Bears. What do we got to lose? Stop coaching scared. Go win the game.
That's all well and good to say now, but realistically on that drive was damn near a disaster. That drive was damn near a disaster. And if we had ran one more damn play and Caleb would have happened to get sacked again, or Roschon got 1 or 2 yards, which I don't care what you're trying to say. He just ran it and he got 2 damn yards. The 2 more yards wasn't stopped in no trajectory for not getting blocked.
What if he would have scored?
I mean, if ifs was fifths, we'd all be drunk. You know what I'm saying? I get what you're saying, and it's easy to say that, but there were a lot more negatives that could have happened. Again, based on what that drive alone, that Caleb had been sacked twice for loss of a good amount of yards. Now let him have.
You can't worry about that when you're trying to win a game. You can't do that.
Either way, we lost. I think
that, and you still lost anyways. And your job and your seat is warm. Your seat is nice and hot.
Hey, I get you. I get
people. Listen, all I know is Harbaugh, wherever he goes, hey, wherever Jim Harbaugh goes, he wins. We've seen that man win at Stanford, at Michigan, with the 49ers, with the Chargers, and he's taken over programs and NFL franchises coming off down years. I know that man ran the ball. He didn't play scared. He wasn't worried about what if we lose a yard or two. And no, he ran the ball. They scored a touchdown. They won. We lost.
We played conservative. We played not to lose. And when you play not to lose, you lose.
And
now we got to eat an L.
We played to win and we've lost. So either
We
way,
played to lose. We played
play
scary.
to lose and we lose. We play not to lose and we lose. We play to win and we lose.
Tiffany, I need you to let that hurt go and try to win. Stop worrying about things. Stop worrying about negative things. Listen,
I really feel
you got to not worry about negative things. No, we bear up now. We don't just bear down. Our claws go up.
Okay, I've been the first to be on Eberflus about his use of timeouts and not challenging Goofy. In this one, I felt fully confident when he made that decision. I was cool with it, especially how that drive had just went. If we had been marching the ball down the field, play after play in that drive, I would have been like, damn, why don't we try to get it? That drive was a fucking disaster. Like, Caleb had to save us, twice on fourth down? Like, let's be real about the situation that we were in. But now we can sit back and criticize and say, yeah, we should have tried to get 3 more yards because we not scared.
Criticize then. I didn't criticize now. I criticized then.
I mean, he did now. I don't know. I just think that's a weak argument from people who don't like Eberflus anyway, which I'm cool with, but I think that's a weak argument. I think a lot of coaches would have probably made that decision in that situation. Again, the way that draft. But
we've seen a coach not make that decision literally the next day.
And they were running the ball a lot better than us, weren't they? On that drive.
Right. Same day. It's not Monday.
Okay. I mean, either way, we lost. Because
Harbaugh's a winning coach. Eberflus is a losing coach. And losing coaches do what losing coaches do.
And we a losing team.
But how do we change that? How do we change that? We got to start thinking like winners. The same thing happened. I don't know if you've seen a video, but there's a side by side of Eberflus, Trestman, and Nagy, all three losing a game just like this by electing not be aggressive and to settle for the field goal and the field goal. Listen, all of those guys got one in common: failed, fired coaches. So Eberflus just did what failed, fired coaches do. Harbaugh did what winning coaches do. Brady was in the move saying he was just confused at why not. He said why this happened. Not when the kick was blocked. He said, you got a timeout. Why are they letting the clock? Why not run a couple of plays? This is a 7-time Super Bowl winner who's used to winning. He's got a winning mentality.
I heard
he's got a mentality for winning.
I would run it one more time, but I thought he said, but I get it. But either way, this is a moot point. It got blocked. And if it would have been 43 yards, the shit would have got blocked. I mean,
not necessarily.
Okay, well, we can move from this point, but I just think that one was like, when he.
To Q's point, John Harbaugh and the Chargers, they were in field goal range to win the game last night. They ran the ball one more time, and J.K. Dobbins broke it out for a 35-yard touchdown.
They were They were in the same era we were.
Right, but to Tiffany, I agree with you.
Don't they got a shaky kicker too? Don't they got a shaky kicker?
Kicker the Dicker. Oh, a Dicker the kicker.
Didn't he miss a couple yesterday? I mean, that's factored in too.
That's McPherson.
Your kicker,
McPherson mixed them.
Oh, that was okay. Cincinnati. Okay.
So I agree with Tiff. I don't think that it's. I think it's a red herring to blame this on field goal position and trajectory. And I'm just not going to agree with anything the Packers say. Yeah, we was watching tape. We knew it was going to be low. Man, shut up. I do not care what the Packers got to say about that.
I don't agree with that because we know the dynamics of kicking a longer field goal kick. You're always going to kick it off. It's going to be low.
He does kick it low. Period. Like
every kicker's going to kick it longer field goal.
Majority of kickers. But let's move forward from this, child.
But what we saying is Cairo kick blocked. I mean, it's a thing that happens. He's been there for years. It's not a recurring thing.
You don't see Cairo Santos getting his field goal kicks blocked. Anyway,
you don't see very many kickers get the field goal block. That's not a very common occurrence. It's just like catching Hail Mary's not common occurrences. But it happens.
Santos going into that kick. He was 82% from 40 or greater. 40 to 49 yards per 40 from he was 82% from 40 to 49 yard field goal length while he's been a Chicago Bear. I don't necessarily think that if we got it any closer, it'd have been turned out any different. You can still block a kick from any distance.
So, but within 42 yards,
but go ahead, keep going with the kick.
Within 40 yards, isn't he 100% though?
Do you have
over the last 2 years? And was it 40 yards or 42 yards? He's 100% over the last couple of years.
He is 100% from 30 to 39, and yeah, from 30 to 39. Since he's joined the Bears, he's 100%. He's like 40 for 40.
They didn't get it 30 to 39. That's all I'm saying. 100% beats 89%.
What's his percentage at 46 or that range?
Like I said, he was 82%.
He's like 80%
as a Bear.
I'll take 100 over 82. That's me.
82%.
I'll take 100 over 82%. That's just me. I don't know about you guys. I like 100% over the 82%.
I think the game, as I agree with both of you, I think the game was won regardless of where we decided to kick the ball from. Q, we know you felt that way because we saw your actions on social media. You, Tyreek Stevens, did. You called the win before the kick was actually kicked. So we all agree to
something. You was going for the Packers to win that?
Don't ever disrespect it again.
Oh, I'm just saying.
Hold on. Time out. Hey, can we go off the air? Can we go off the air? Them is fighting words though.
He said
drop your low
before the kick.
Drop your low. Don't you ever call me a Packers fan? Listen.
I don't know.
Listen. In Chicago, there's two words, two phrases that's automatic. You call me a goofy or you call me a Packers fan. How do you question it?
Hey, you said you called the dub before the kick went off, so I'm trying to figure out.
I called the win on our preview show.
Okay, got you. All right.
I mean, we call wins all the time, even though I didn't call a win on the preview show, but we call wins all the time. It doesn't jinx us, though. I mean, the only jinx we have is Eberflus. I'm ready for him to go. I'm ready for him to get up out of here. Y'all could have spent him all y'all want. Y'all want Eberflus back for another year, tip pay? That's cool. We know who the Packers fan is. Nah. You over here defending, bro. So you want him as your coach.
I'm not defending him, but
I heard you.
And that segues us to our ugly. I think we're all in unison about a certain coach with this loss right here. I got a couple of stats. So the Bears were 101, 24, and 2 since 1940. That's 84 years when they didn't turn the ball over and had to lead or whatever, right? Had to lead late in the game. They've lost 3 of those games in the last 3 weeks. I felt last year that we were a lot of our issues last year was that we didn't know how to win the game. We don't know how to win, right? Losers lose because they don't know how to win.
They can't
and
close.
It just seems like they can't close. And it seems like Eberflus, with all he has positives. I don't want to say he's terrible all the way around, but he has positives, but he just doesn't have that it factor. He doesn't have that clutch gene to quote Skip Bayless. So do we have any differences of opinion as far as like our unified ugly for this?
Oh, I got an opinion, but I'm gonna let Q go first.
No, I'm gonna let Tip rock. Tip rock. She real disrespectful. I'm not.
Hey, I'm not disrespectful, but I'm just.
She real You call me a Packer fan? No, folks, you don't call me no Packer fan.
I had to know where you stand, bro. You switch sides. People.
You call me a Packer fan. You might as well call me a goofy. Like you was just extra disrespectful.
I just asked who's when you call.
No, I'm trying to see how you coming because a Packer fan is crazy. That's wild. We're gonna talk about this. We're gonna talk about this off air.
Oh, okay.
We're gonna talk about this off air.
For my ugly, if you watch my rant, then you know what direction I'm going with my ugly. So I'm gonna give out a Cut the Crap award. I'm gonna give out my inaugural Cut the Crap award, and my Cut the Crap award goes to Jalen Johnson. That's who it goes to. Okay, and I got a bunch of reasons why he gets my Cut the Crap award. So we got Jalen, and I know his position, they got bravado and they talk shit, and I'm all good with that. But for some random reason, this weekend, Jalen Johnson jumped on Instagram and he posted himself and he said something to the nature of, I'm like Jason Tatum in the Olympics, I don't play. Okay, so it's like, that's a random ass shot at somebody who ain't really in your league, doesn't have anything to do with the sport you play. Like, y'all don't have no beef. He probably don't even know who you are, if we being honest. So it was just a weird flex to me. But it's like, cool, you know what? He does his thing. I'm going to let him have it. Guess what? It happened this weekend. Guess who got burned and tripped up and fell? Okay, he's human. He makes mistakes, but got burned on the play of the game, which was honestly the reason why we lost. We can sit here and talk about Cairo kicking, not kicking, block, not block all day. But if the Packers don't score in that drive before, which that long-ass pass to Christian Watson perfectly set them up for, then we're not talking about that because we already have the lead and we're just protecting it. So I'm giving the Cut the Crap award somebody who wants to get on the internet and flex on somebody who has an NBA championship, who has been all-team NBA his whole career, who's been to the Eastern Conference Finals, who has all these accolades. And, buddy, you haven't even won a playoff game yet. Like, let's be honest. You know what I'm saying? Like, our players be having – and he's done this before. I think we've talked about it on the pod before. Like, I think he said something crazy about the Packers or whatever, which you get. Those are our rivals. But it's like all this big talking when you really haven't accomplished anything is a silly-ass move. And now you out there and you done got burned and you look crazy because it's like, why are you all talking so big? Like, this team does a lot of big talking and no backing up. They do a lot of jumping around, but when bro is on our sideline ready to fight everybody's standing there with their hands flipped. It's just I'm tired of this team talking and not having any action behind their words. So it's like, bro, let's get some winning going before we start talking shit all the time. Because we as fans, we're ready to talk shit, but every time we talk shit, it's like, damn, we got to eat them words because we lose and we lose and we lose.
I don't think Jalen Johnson was taking a shot at Tatum. That was a little rap bar. That's a metaphor. It wasn't necessarily a shot at Tatum.
It's definitely
we know Tatum.
How could it not be a shot when you know that's been and it wasn't even relevant? It's like that was I could see if he said it when we was 4-2, when we was doing something, when we was making homie, we just came off at that point a 3-game horrible losing streak. You just ironically lost terribly to the team from Boston. It was just tone deaf to me. Like, what are you bragging about at that point in the season? It was just weird to me. I don't know. I just found
I'm gonna let you cook, but being a fan and a student of hip hop, I understood the bar. It was a bar. It wasn't really a diss at Tatum. We know Tatum didn't play in the Olympics, so I don't think he has any beef with Tatum. I don't think Tatum took it personally. I'm gonna let you cook on that one. For my ugly, losing to the Packers. There's nothing uglier than losing to the ugliest team in the NFL with the ugliest fan base and the ugliest state in the country. That's the ugly. There are no attractive Packers fans. Clip that for me, please. Let them see it on my social media. There's nobody attractive that roots for the Packers. I'm sorry. They attract ugly energy. They wear ugly uniforms. They play in an ugly stadium. They play in an ugly state, and their fans are ugly.
Who was that actress that was Aaron Rodgers' beard that he was?
Danica Patrick. She was paid.
Well, it was another one. Not.
Oh, wait. I thought you were talking about that's the race car driver, right. Danica Patrick.
Right. Girl, that was on
Divergent.
The girl that was the lead in Divergent series. I forget her. Shayla, something like that.
I didn't know Aaron. I didn't know Aaron was dating anybody besides. Really? How did Randall Cobb and Devontae Adams feel about that?
Yikes. That wasn't a rap bar. We're not going to blame that on a random rap bar. That was a rap bar. That wasn't a shot. That
was the honest. That was the honest question.
That was a rap bar, man.
No, that was the honest question. I wonder how Randall Cobb and Devontae Adams felt about it.
You continue to be obtuse. I got you. Go ahead. You got.
I just wanted to know. I mean, I asked the question. I just want to know. I wonder how they. I'm thinking out loud. I didn't mean anything by it. I just want to know what Randall and Devontae felt about it. I mean, you guys can draw your own conclusions. I just asked a question. If somebody leads more into that, or that's user interpretation. I can't be blamed for how users interpret things that I say. My conscience is clean.
My ugly from this last loss from the Packers has got to be the defense. I don't know why we gave up a touchdown when we had 12 men on the field. That seems like a joke. We gave up a touchdown to the slot receiver, who we haven't given up a touchdown all season to that position. We had pretty much been great defending slot receivers. But in some way, shape, or form, we decided to have too many men on the field and still give up a touchdown. Incomprehensible. And then our all-world quarterback, Tiff, that you mentioned, Jalen Johnson, the ball seemed to find his area of the field a lot Sunday. Not necessarily saying that he was giving up catches to his man in particular, because they were filling zones that he had abandoned, and the ball just over there quite often. And then obviously the end of the game, Christian Watson gets past him. He was trying to jam. Jalen was trying to jam him, and he got away from him, and he made a spectacular catch to which Eberflus should not have. Again, we've talked about this ad nauseum too. Eberflus blew a timeout that we possibly could have used if he was going to run some more plays. He blew a timeout challenging that catch from Christian Watson. It looked like a catch all the way.
It did, but I mean, that was another one. That was another one that I didn't feel like I felt about the other ones, because that was such a pivotal play. If there was any chance that shit could be overturned, I mean, the Packers did the same thing, and the catch that Keenan had was even more obvious. So that was kind of like, you know what, this play is so big. If it's in, because it was moving, and it was a lot less obvious of a catch than Keenan's that they challenged for no reason. But that was one where I was like, you know what, that's a big ass play. I see why he gonna, take a shot.
No, I don't. No, you're absolutely correct. I don't necessarily think that Eberflus blew the game for us. I don't necessarily think that decision to challenge that call was a bad decision in itself. But it's the snowball effect, right? When you do something wrong in a certain area enough times, even at times where you have the plausible deniability, it all comes back to the first time. It's just we just don't have any luck in this area. I'm still searching for the first time that Eberflus has won a challenge, and it just those type of things we never hit home runs with.
I was gonna say the one call of his that I was kind of like, was early on in the game where we went for 2 to make it 7. I mean, I think the math would have worked out anyway. If we would have went for 1, then the Packers probably wouldn't have went for that 2-point conversion that they ended up missing later on in the game. So the math probably still would have ended up the same. But that was one where I was like, it's so early in the game, bro. Like, we don't need to, if you need 2 points later on in the game, then you go for it. So that was the one decision where I was kind of like, But again, compared to how atrocious he's been in other games, this one I couldn't find much fault in him. But that was one decision where I was like, bro, it's early in the game. Let's just get the guaranteed points. And then if we need 2 down the line, then we'll go for 2. But
my ugly was just the whole product from the defense. We could have, even though we gave up less than 21 points, again, as a result, you might say, yeah, the defense played great. Josh Jacobs, he didn't kill us on the ground. He had a big reception that made us look silly. His total yardage was about 130 some odd yards, I think. But as a running back, he didn't really kill us. But I'm gonna come to another stat. Jordan Love is the worst quarterback in the league against pressure, against the blitz. We sent the blitz 3 times. We can't
get pressure on anybody.
Yeah, we can't get pressure on anybody as of late. Beginning of the season, the first 6 weeks of the season, we was getting back there. Martez Sweat could not be blocked by anybody. Kyler Gordon was sneaking up from the nickel back position, getting in the backfield all the time. It just seemed like we didn't throw everything. We didn't throw the kitchen sink at the Packers when we should have. When you're a losing team, you have to start making winning decisions. You got to start saying balls to the wall. We're going to win this game come hell or high water. And to Q's point earlier, we played not to lose instead of played to win. A little too safe. And
do you think so? As many times as we went for it on fourth down, do you honestly believe? I'm not talking about the last play. I'm just saying the tone of that game didn't feel playing not to lose because we would have kicked it on fourth down.
From a coaching standpoint, from Eberflus's from coming from the sideline, yes, I do think so. I think the players, Caleb in particular, they had an attitude about the game. It's like, we're not trying to sit on our hands. We're trying to win this shit right now. And you saw that from how Caleb approached every play out there. You saw that how DJ was fired up out there. Braxton Jones, DeAndre Swift. Yes, from their body language and their histrionics from out there on the field, it looked like they were trying to, like this is a win, a must-win game. This is the last game of the year. They all had that type of energy coming from them. But again, Caleb had to be demonstrative with Eberflus, like, hey, we're going for this fourth down. He had to do that more than one occasion. I already said about we didn't come out there aggressive trying to get Jordan Love. He was the key to the game. Jordan Love is even though he's the highest paid player on that team and in the NFL, he's the weak point. He's the weak link on that team.
He's the highest paid player in the NFL.
Well, from a signing bonus standpoint, his contract total, it matches, I think, not Joe Burrow, but a couple of others, some other players. But from a signing bonus standpoint, his moved past some other ones. Was a signing bonus or guaranteed money? I don't remember. One of those two. So it wouldn't be. It's not totally incorrect to say that he's the highest paid player in the NFL. Well, no, not guaranteed money because that's still Deshaun Watson. So it was signing bonus. His signing bonus was the highest ever. I say that because he's the weakest link on that squad, for that offense, rather. He's played bad for someone who's getting paid what he has from this season. We had to scramble him up. We had to make sure that he had no chance, no opportunity to find his footing. And I just don't think that we played to our best in that regard. On the other side of the field, they are one of their best players on their defense, Jair Alexander. He was hurt. He missed majority of that game. We didn't take advantage.
Well, he played the first couple series.
Pretty much all of it. I think.
Yeah, pretty much all of it.
Yeah, I think he played like 10, 15 plays, something like that. We attacked them on offense. We made sure, we made sure that we were going to get what we could out of this team. I like what Thomas Brown did, but on the defensive side of the ball, it didn't match up to what I saw on the offensive side.
Hey, I've already gave out my award for the defense. So and not to jump on Jalen because everybody trips and falls and all that shit. But if you're going to call yourself the biggest and the baddest, because he hasn't had many opportunities this year because they don't throw it his way and all that. And all that is kudos to him. But when they do, we need you to stay on your feet. Like, we need you to back up that big talking because that was a pivotal play. Like I said, if that play doesn't happen, yes, theoretically, they could have still scored, blah, blah, blah. But that play was pivotal to them scoring. If they don't score on that drive, we're not even in the position for Cairo to have to kick up 2 or 52-yard field goals. So, the defense is not playing up to the part that they have been playing in all capacities. Like you said, they're still, and I was proud of them too, because they did we continue to let people drive and march down the field. On the opening play, we let them march down the field and score. But there were several other drives where we let them march down the field, but then we stopped them on fourth down, or we got the interception, or we stopped them from scoring completely. So it wasn't a terrible showing from the defense. It's just we put ourselves in those positions where we have to have the greatest red zone, defense ever. And we came away with it a few times. But when you're playing like that and then you have those big plays, because that wasn't the only big play that Christian Watson had. I think most of his catches were big plays. He wasn't getting dink and dunk plays. So it's like, bro, he's clearly their best wide receiver. Why are we not on? Like, especially when the game was on the line. And ultimately, that falls on Eberflus because he is the defensive caller. I mean, it falls on the defense too, because at times, they're not lacking effort, but like you said, it didn't like Kyler hasn't seemed the same to me since he's been back from his injury, and that's understandable. We're just so used to him every game having 3, 4, 5 plays where he's there. And I think he had maybe one big stop this past game, I think on a run play. But he's not back to form yet, and we're missing pieces. So the defense, like I said, every week they running down our throat. Whether Jacobs put up a bunch of rush yards or not, he was getting first downs and he was getting yards that counted, and he was doing damage in the run. I mean, in the pass game too. So we got to get that part figured out.
I don't think we have enough time in the season to figure that part out yet because.
Oh yeah, I mean, everything we talking about now is building towards next year. I mean, we got to be honest with ourselves. I think mathematically, Well,
no, mathematically we can't win 12 games. Mathematically, we got to win out. We got to win out to get 11. So, but if we're going to be pessimistic about it, everything we're talking about does build in for next year. I don't think going back to the run and rush defense, I don't think we can fix that this year because it's been a week in and week out issue, and it's the players to a man. They say it is not. There's nothing schematic different from last season. It's the same unit for the most part. So it's not new bodies. It's not scheme. So it's just they just ain't got it this year.
Yeah, but I think part of it is personnel because they even talked about it on the broadcast how like our D-line is not very big. You know what I'm saying? We don't have like big boys. We don't have those bruisers. We don't have those Hakeem Hicks on our team right now. So, I think part of it is personnel. And then we've had players go down. So we're definitely going to have to address, the pass rush and run defense because those are areas that we are sorely lacking.
You can also think about it this way. Maybe we played above our heads last season in that regard. Maybe TJ Edwards and TJ Edwards and some of the others, they were just better last year than what they actually were, or what they are. I mean,
yeah, I think both the Edwards. I think both of them maybe had were playing better last year than they are this year. I think that Sweat. I mean, we could probably say for most people that at least numbers wise that they have more. I don't know if Sweat has a sack this year.
Oh no, he has some. He hasn't had one since he missed that game a couple of weeks
when
back.
He went out in the Washington game.
Yeah, I don't think he's been as effective since then. But getting back up to 100% at this point in the season is going to be a tough task. So. As you talked about, Kyler Gordon, and he coming back from that. Well, he was down for 3 weeks.
If he even, ever gonna be back, poor baby.
Yeah. It just seems like it all snowballs into worse, right, with this team. Are you at least more optimistic about where we finished this season based on how we looked Sunday?
I'm not more optimistic about where we finished because our schedule is just so brutal. I am more optimistic about how we may compete because they definitely did show fight. I hope another gut-punching, deflating loss doesn't take that fight away from them. But I am more optimistic that we may compete better, and I'm more optimistic about Caleb's continued development and growth, and hopefully Thomas Brown and everybody that's working with him will be the solution to really, really get him comfortable and going. So I'm optimistic about those avenues, optimistic about us getting more wins. Our schedule is so brutal. I mean, it really is. Like, we got Detroit on Thanksgiving. We got Minnesota this weekend, which I feel is a winnable game. Minnesota's prone to, give some up, but we're not prone to take games. That's the sad part. Like, we play teams that are prone to give games away, but we ain't been prone to take games. So that's the part that's got me hesitant. But I am more positive about the team at least competing. And like I said, I'm definitely more positive about Caleb's development and him being where he needs to be for next year.
I see that. I'm still 10 toes down with the squad. I cannot believe that this is.
So you want Eberflus to come back?
No.
You want us to win out, and then for Ryan Pace to say we're not going nowhere. Okay.
No, because I think he did that already once, and he can't do it again. The definition of insanity.
You said that somebody said that he after the last game he said he was safe. He had a
that's true. Ryan Poe. We said that last week. Ryan Poe said it. He said that regardless of what happens this season, Eberflus he's good. He's a good man. He's coming back. And the thought that from probably the best Bears reporter there is, Brad Biggs, is that Eberflus has a 5-year contract. I cannot believe
contracts air day be and they get fired. Yeah, I don't know what that's supposed to mean.
Well, I mean, the Bears they kind of operate differently than common practice, common sense. I can't believe that the definition of insanity would be sitting right in Ryan Poe's face, and he decides to not be, to be inactive again. The reason why he brought Eberflus back was one, they finished strong last season, and the team responded to him. If you finish strong again this season, and you still don't make the playoffs, and the team is waffling a little bit on that response, you can't do it again, bro. You got to make a change.
Yeah, but what if they win out, then the team is obviously responding to him. Or if they put up, a winning record, this brutal schedule, that means the team is obviously responding to him. I'm just saying that's making a case for Eberflus. It is. You can't sit here and say it ain't. And we all know, we hope Eberflus, I'm sure he's a very good person. I wish him the best on the next defensive coordinator job that he has. But it's time for us to turn the page. We all feel like that, and we all know it. But I'm just telling you, if they fight and they win out, that's a little bit harder of a, you got a little bit more of a case. So you got to pick your poison. I'm not telling you not to be positive. I want my team to win too. I'm tired of my Sundays being ruined. I'm tired of feeling a pit in my stomach and not answering no texts for the rest of the day on Sunday. I really am. I want us to get back. I don't want Thanksgiving at noon already to be feeling like crap. I don't.
Well, my birthday just passed. Why can't I have my cake and eat it too? Why can't the team win and they still fire Eberflus?
Because you've already said that's not even how Chicago operate. That don't even sound like them.
That makes my head hurt.
Because then you're going to be like, oh, we don't want to switch things up for Caleb. We got good vibes going. Oh, the team is behind them.
Who is this character you keep inviting to the show? What voice is that?
It's just the voice in my head.
The voice in your head.
Yeah, but fans hate Eberflus, but I think the media hates Eberflus even more. I don't know, coaches, maybe who got fired last year? It may be one or two coaches that have caught more of the ire than the media, but boy, Rex Ryan and all the media, the Bears writers, they hate Eberflus. They hate him. Rex Ryan said he should never be able to do a press conference ever again. So, I'm sure that they'll be happy to see him go, but I'm just saying the Bears, they're not very aggressive when it comes to things like that. That's all I'm saying. So if Eberflus puts up a case and a fight, that's a lot more of a tick in his direction. And they don't seem to care what fans think, because we know fans still gonna support. So
no, they do not care.
People can keep typing them paragraphs in those Bears groups, and it ain't gonna mean nothing.
Shout out to Harry.
I'm sure he was back on his Caleb course this week.
No, more so just like Justin couldn't do this.
It's such a weird. Let it go, bro. Let it go. Justin does not play for us anymore. It's okay. He cannot hurt you anymore.
Harry is a Michigan fan, so we've figured out that a lot of this anti-Justin from Justin being a Buckeye
and whooping them repeatedly.
For the most part, yes.
I believe his whole career. No, I think his whole career. I mean, he was only there for a couple years.
Yeah. Justin started what, 2 seasons in Ohio State?
Yeah.
So that's 2-0 for Justin.
And I mean, they went to championship. I mean, they went to one championship, and the other one was the whatever they call that final before that. So Michigan wasn't doing too much in that, but I get it.
It's all right. He'll be okay. All right. So the Bears, they got Minnesota next. You try to beat Sam Darnold.
A winnable game because if we could get to him and rattle him, just like if we would have been able to rattle Jordan Love, he owed us a few more picks.
At some point, these lessons that we learn from these losses, I gotta start paying off, right?
I mean, if I'm being real, it seemed like they paid off in this game because the team really was playing better, in my opinion. Like I said, maybe it was just the scheming and getting the ball out of Caleb's hand quicker, but the O-line for the most part until that last drive was holding up pretty well, or Caleb was escaping or they were decisive with him running it and all these other things. You know, he was more decisive with what he was going to do. They protected the best they had. I think were those 2 sacks his only sack in the game?
I want to say yes.
Or maybe he got sacked once earlier in the game, maybe. But it certainly wasn't the sack party that it's been, these past games.
Agreed. Yeah, Caleb was very, very good.
Still down. The O-line is still banged up. They're still down. I mean, they're not, the best O-line when they're 100%. But I don't know. It was just a shame that we lost when it seemed like everybody responded. It seemed like you said, the wide receivers seemed like they were blocking. They were out there, getting catches, running routes, doing things that they hadn't necessarily been wholeheartedly doing in the last couple of games. Everybody looked like they were really invested and wanted to win and did what needed to be done to win. Even penalties. We had a few, but it was nothing like what we've had recently. I mean, I think we did still have a couple false starts where I was just like, come on, man, why can't y'all get set? But again, even
one that they didn't call.
Exactly. Even in that category, we did a lot better. So it was just so heartbreaking for the team really to have seemed like it turned the corner, seemed like we're about to get this, career win for Caleb and for the team and get the monkey off the back and all these things. And then again, in the most obscure way possible, because it happens in football. It's happened this season, but kicks do get blocked, but it's not very often. And I'm just like, why does the improbable continue? Like, what have they done at Hallis Hall? What has Virginia been doing? Somebody's got some juju that needs to be cleansed because it's brazy that we continue to lose in the most heartbreaking, very rare ways week after week. That's just nuts.
I wanted to bring this back up too. When you were telling during our diatribe, our back and forth about who's to blame for that field goal, the offensive line. I think we can all agree the offensive line is to blame for that. Matt Pryor, who's when he's starting is terrible. Who else? Was it Borum? Borum was out there on the special teams line again as well. And I forgot who else was out there, but they just got ran over. They allowed
that looked like vintage. That whole drive, again, going to my point where I was okay with not going it again. That whole drive, they were getting a little bit ran over. Like I think the Packers had decided of course, it was game time. So, that drive, they looked the weakest they had looked. And we know they're a little bit shaky. And it showed in him being able to get right through them and run right through them time after time. So, I do give them props for playing well the majority of the game. That last drive, though, Packers just had more will and more talent on their line than we did. And that's a shame. And that, you know what? I was like sitting there because I was plugging my ears. I didn't want to hear nothing. I just wanted to watch it. And I'm like, come on, Cairo, you got this. And the ball still was going straight. I didn't know for a second that it had been blocked until I saw the Packers jumping around. Because, again, I wasn't listening. So I'm like, all right, it's going towards it. It's about to, and then it, falls short. And I'm just like, I literally just was like that. That's it. I'm not. What's it for today? I didn't watch football for a few hours. I think I watched the night game, but that's it. I don't tap it out for right now.
I'm tired of Matt LaFleur's face.
He was getting on my nerves too, and people like, "Oh, he out." Shut up! All he was doing was over there crying about everything. He gets, I don't know, his face does annoy me. He's just like, he's very annoying. Like he was just crying about every single thing. It's like, bro,
just because he knew that first L was coming. He knew that first L was coming, and he didn't want to. He didn't want to deal with that fact, and then he got bailed out, man, with the most improbable stuff that you ever see.
We gonna get him.
Oh yeah. The first loss is coming. The first loss is coming, and we see that because if it's anything to take away from this game, things are changing in that area as far as the rivalry. The gap is closed. I think
they're super beatable, and that's why it's whack that we didn't beat them. And you know what makes me even more mad? They've escaped several games this season. This isn't the first game where they were really supposed to lose, and something happened at the very end, and they ended up squeaking out of it. So it's like, man, those tables, they always turn, and they're gonna turn away from Green Bay. The people there don't have much else to be happy and hopeful for. So you gotta, they gotta have a little hope in their lives from their Packers. But those tables are gonna turn.
They're gonna turn, and I think it's gonna be the Bears the one that turn it for them. Turn it for them. They're gonna turn the tables on them. They're gonna put the table on their neck, and they're gonna put them through the table, a la Buffalo. Bear down. Thanks for listening to this latest edition from the Frustrated Chicago Sports Fan channel. Whether you listen to this on Apple Podcasts or Spotify or watching on YouTube, make sure you like, subscribe, share with a friend, and hit the notification bell so you never miss a drop. And all my homies from Chicago, we say three things: bear down, go Cubs go, and sell the team, Jerry.